Before you find comfort in somebody telling you, God's not mad at you, he's simply being silent because the teacher's silent during the test. Before you find comfort in that saying, I have to ask you this. What are you being tested in? What are you being tested in? The same way you wouldn't test a 7-year-old in geometry is the same way God's not going to test you in obedience if you've been disobedient. Some of you have majors in disobedience and you're expecting a test in obedience. And then if you ask me, well, why do I bring this up? I bring this up because I must genuinely ask, do you think they look the same? When you are tested after a string of disobedience, does it look the same after God tests somebody after a string of obedience? No. When God goes silent while he's testing somebody who's been disobedient, it looks different from when he goes silent as he's testing somebody who's been obedient. It looks different. When he goes silent while he's testing somebody in disobedience, it looks like Saul. It looks like Samson right before he judged them. Now, there are some people that God is in fact testing in obedience. This is still very much so true. Either you've had a string of obedience and now God is about to give you abundance, or he already has and he's testing you in it. He's testing you before he gives you the abundance, or he's testing you while you're in the abundance. But if you're one of those people that has been continuously living in sin, if he's silent and you are in fact being tested, this is right before judgment comes, before discipline comes. Discern the time. Discern the time and be careful before you start offering yourself empty platitudes. Be honest. Where am I in my relationship with God? I'm just trying to make sure that we really get that the wrath of God exists. God is not a caricature. He's not an image on a wall. He's not a little portrait. He's a 3-dimensional real person with real feelings. Feelings, plural, more than one, not just love. He is also wrath. He is also anger. And he will enact that on his children when they're disobedient. And it won't all the time just manifest as like a heartbreak. Sometimes he'll have to punish you so severely that you lose everything. Oh, well, that makes people scared. Yeah, because the fear of God is real. You're meant to fear him. A lot of people change the fear of God with the awe of God. Oh, well, he's so powerful and he can create and disintegrate anything. That's awe. But when you healthily fear something, you know that they're not something to cross. Same way you should healthily fear your parents. I can't play with mom. I can't play with dad. That's healthy. And while we're at it, I'm going to cover one other thing. There's a lot of people out there that will say, oh, that's not going to make people feel comfortable going back to God. Listen to me very carefully. When you do something wrong to somebody, do you only apologize? Do you only go back and admit you're wrong? Do you only repent when it's comfortable? When you know there's not going to be any consequence? No. That is wicked. That is wicked. You should not need your pride, your ego, to be stroked in order for you to do the right thing. I apologize regardless of how angry or frustrated that somebody might be at something that I've done wrong to them. I apologize because right is right and wrong is wrong, and I've done something wrong, therefore I need to make it right. So yes, they will take whatever actions that they take, and rightfully so. But regardless of how they choose to react, I'm going to do the right thing, which is apologize. You do not withhold apology. You do not withhold doing the right thing because of fear of consequence. That is immoral. Go back to God and apologize because he deserves it, and because he has feelings, and because he's a real person and you've really hurt him. And yeah, I don't say this to be mean. I don't say this to sound evil. I say this because it's true and because God really does deserve better.